Hey yo, salute to the people. It's the social forecast. Today is Wednesday, May 22nd, and I hope you all do something today to further your goals and to help you realize your dreams. All right, let's get into it. I just watched a video on Twitter from a young woman who I guess was issuing like a public service announcement. And what she was saying made a lot of sense to a certain extent, but I do have a rebuttal to it. So, in the typical fashion of this platform, I'm here to bring it to you all for further processing. And we can talk about it if y'all want. So this young woman was talking about men who approach women that they may be physically attracted to, and they may issue certain compliments. And she was talking about how compliments of a physical nature are sexually driven and there's no real intent behind it. And she ran off a few like what ifs, if these men said, oh, that's a beautiful woman, or that's a dope woman, that could be my wife, or I could add value to her life, or I could offer her support or love. And she kind of went in basically saying like that's not enough for her, and if you're going to approach her, then the approach should be that instead of what she interprets those compliments as being, oh, I just want to have sex with that woman, I just want to fuck, basically is what she was saying. And I get it to a certain extent, and I'm not saying that men shouldn't alter their approach to certain women, certain men anyway. But I will say this though, her idea, while I agree with it on the surface to a certain extent, in a lot of ways it was faulty, because men, as we all know, for the most part, are visual creatures. So when we see something that's visually appealing to us, that's what we're going to speak on in that moment. It's not to say that there aren't men out there who only see the visual and that's it, and only see the surface and that's it. But you can't expect a man, this is to all women, not to that one young woman, because like I said, her point was very well articulated. However, you can't expect every man to see a value in something, or really you can't expect any human being, in my opinion, to see the value in something until they get to know what it is behind that thing or that person. And a person pays someone a compliment, it should just be that, and that's what it is. For you to read more into it and to assume that that man just means one thing by that compliment, that speaks more to you and what your current mind state is, more so than it speaks about what that man's intentions are. And that's what I really took away from that video that I watched from this young woman. To further that thought, like I said, men are visual creatures. If you expect a man to see you and say, oh, that's a visually appealing woman in their head, and I'm obviously putting it, respectfully, that man doesn't know. For me personally, I have to see the value in someone in order for me to want to add value to that person. And when you talk about in your video support and love, because the young woman made mention to the fact that there's no support, there's no love, there's no financial support from these men. Well, those terms that you speak of, support, love, those are multi-directional things that will come from both parties, not just one person. And so a lot of women do operate off of their looks and put so much energy into their looks, and then when they get that attention from those men pertaining to those looks, then some of those same women become offended by that attention. And you can't have it both ways. You can't say it's all about love and support and it's all about those intangible things, but then when certain of you women have those things but don't get enough of the compliments, don't get enough of the attention paid to you, and physical affection, or outward expressions of, oh, you look good today, or you look nice today, then you don't feel like you have enough in that relationship with that person. So you can't have it both ways. Yes, there should be a balance in all things, but there's a start and an end to whatever it is, that a person is attracted to you by. Like it starts physical for most men. And I think that most women don't understand that, because for the most part, women are not usually typically first attracted to a man by their physical appearance. I'm sure that there are some, of course, but for the most part, you speak to 10 women who are in a relationship, a long-term relationship, and don't be surprised if at least 6 or 7 out of them say, well, in the beginning, I wasn't even really attracted to the person that I'm with. It just over time, their personality and the different intangible things that I felt they possessed is what caused my physical attraction to them to grow. And that's fine for women because for the most part, they're more emotional and the connections on a deeper level. For men, it starts physical, and then those other things that are underneath and underlying can grow from there to deepen that connection. So my only point is, well, I agree with this young woman to a certain extent, and the video right now is on my Twitter page. For those of you watching on YouTube, the links to my Twitter account is on my channel. For those of you watching this on Twitter, just scroll down my news feed a little bit and you'll see the video from this young woman that I retweeted with kind of my own interpretation on it prior to this video. But basically, you can't group, of course, all men into anything. Nothing is absolute. There's always going to be exceptions to every and anything. What is puzzling to me is that you usually find a contradiction. I'm not saying with this woman, obviously, but with women in general, you see a contradiction. A compliment, no matter what that compliment is, whether it's physical, whether it's deeper than that, whether it's about a person's personality, a compliment coming from a person can be exactly the same as a compliment coming from another person. But that compliment might not necessarily go over the same for both of those people. I can compliment a woman on what I'm seeing, and another man can compliment that same woman on exactly the same thing that they're seeing. And that woman might receive that compliment 2 totally different ways. So let's really be honest and let's really be clear as we delve deeper into relating and interrelational development, because this woman said that the people who are giving these compliments are mentally underdeveloped, I think she put it. You women are very selective with who you want to accept compliments from and how much merit those compliments hold. Let's just be real about that. That just is what it is. And for a large portion of you women, and for a large portion of us men, how we approach you is predicated on the conditioning that we receive from a large portion of you women who teach us through all of the effort they put into how they look and all the selfies and the videos and all of the extent that some of you go through to make your physical appearance stand out and to make yourselves noticed. All I know, if I don't know you, but I see you in a grocery store or walking down the street or at a train station or wherever, at school or at work, if I don't know you personally, all I know is what I see first. And the icebreaker is usually something along the lines of that man or that person complimenting you on something to break the ice. You can't just look at that off the bat as, oh, if this person's complimenting me, they want to get in my pants. Because the same could be said about some women. Let's not act like that there aren't visceral women out there who just see visual and who just want a physical thing and that's it, because that does exist as well. I'm not saying it's not disproportionately men more so than women, but like I said, there's no absolutes. So to that young woman, I feel where you're coming from. 100% appreciate your thoughts on that, Queen, but we got to even the playing field a little bit. I think a lot of the same women who claim to not find love and who claim to not find meaningful connection from the men that they interact with or that are attracted to them, I think some of that has to do with the assumptions that some of you women make when you receive certain compliments or when you see certain men looking at you and seem to like what they see. That's not a bad thing. There are worse things out there, and if that's just a start, and I would truly believe if you gave half those men a chance, maybe they would show you something deeper as far as intent and connection and bond. But those things take not just time, but those things take work from both parties in order to manifest. I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. Like, comment, and subscribe. I see you on the next one. Peace and love.